It is time to build. This is a blog post written by Mark Andreessen, one of the most famous investors in the startup world. So he was not only the founder of Netscape and Andreessen Horowitz, but also I think a really smart guy that talks about really smart things. And one of the recent blog posts he wrote was titled "It is Time to Build," and there he talks about many chances and opportunities that we now see during the crisis. And there are many things actually brought to the surface which do not work currently and which we have to improve. And one of those things is education. So I personally see that as one of the biggest chances, but also the biggest weapons, education, to change the world for the better. And this is exactly what we want to talk about, because if I look back at the past century, in the past decades, there is not much of innovation that has happened in the education sphere. Yes, of course, we see new providers like Coursera or, for example, Udacity, so there's a lot of micro-learning formats. But still, if I look at the universities, the European universities, the Western universities, but also the Eastern universities, we have big rooms, we have classrooms, we have the lecturer standing in front of a bigger crowd, talking to them all the time, really giving them all the knowledge that they need. Then they leave the classroom without really discussing. And there have been few innovators in that field that really tried to change and actually shape this entire way of educating. One of them being Maria Montessori, an Italian brilliant mind who changed the way how we educate our kids. So her way or punchline was, "I want to help the people to help themselves." And that was a new way of teaching. For example, not having any grades, but also peer learning, so that the younger can learn from the older. And this is quite a successful approach. It's no wonder that many of the successful companies that you know were founded actually by pupils that attended Montessori. The Google founders, then also Facebook founders, the Wikipedia founder, Amazon founders, all of them actually attended the Montessori schools. So there seems to be something which she actually did right, and which the entire education format is doing right. And one of the problems that we still see was actually stated and researched in 1984 by Benjamin Bloom, an education researcher who found in 1984 the two sigma effect, or the two sigma actually problem. Interestingly, he compared three different modes of teaching. One of them was the conventional way to actually teach a huge amount of people in a classroom. May it be 30, somebody standing in front and really telling them all the knowledge that he has gathered in his life. The second one is called mastery learning, so where the students have to master a certain subject, and they get corrective measures actually. So the instructor is helping them to improve, and then the entire course is over once the student has mastered the concepts. This is called mastery learning. And the third one is called one-to-one tutoring. And if you combine the latter two, so one-on-one mentorship, one-on-one tutoring with mastery learning, there's actually a way higher effect on mastering certain subjects. So the outcome of that way of teaching is way better. Now the question is, why do we actually still have the old formats of teaching? And why do we see universities with a couple of hundred students sitting at the same spot in the same room, not really being able to interact with the instructor, not really being able to interact amongst each other? And this is a decade-old problem. 1984, this was already stated. And now slowly we're seeing some of the technologies actually trying to solve that problem. Yes, Coursera and others, they installed mentorship programs, but still I think there's a huge opportunity to reach every newborn, not just newborn, but every kid, every new 18-year-old, and not just a small amount of people that can actually afford to study. Because I think it's really crucial, if you want to change the world, to have the knowledge and to have the methods and to have the tools. And one of the ways how to acquire those tools and the knowledge is through education. So as I said, this is a hard topic of mine and a passion topic of mine, and I can only urge every innovator out there to kind of tackle it and try to change the world by changing the way how we educate our future workforces or our future pioneers.